Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Calling Podcast, a podcast where we're here at Sober Life Studios. We talk to first responders, talk about the jobs that they're doing, and certainly what's going on out there. I want to remind everybody, first of all, thanks for joining us. And secondly, take a moment, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment, even if you're watching a replay, because we go back and we look at the comments. We'd love to know what you think about the show, or if there's something you'd like us to address. We talk to first responders, fire, police, military, and a lot of other areas in first responder that covers under the first responder umbrella. But please, subscribe and share this with your friends. I hope everybody's starting out their new year in a good way. This is officially the end of this week. It would be the official ending for all resolutions that you made. We've given up on them. They're over. So just give up and just start living your life and go ahead. You're not going to do it anyway. If you wanted to do it, you would have done it already. If you want to make a change in your life, make your change today. Don't wait for a resolution to do it. Just do it. Just make that change. I joined a gym because I felt like losing about $30 a month. So that's what I did. All right. So we've got a good friend with us. And this is a friend, actually, our friend Joe Kelly, who introduced us to this gentleman. And this is Captain Thomas Rose from the Mashpee Police Department. That's up in Massachusetts on Cape Cod. And I had a moment to talk with him ahead of time. We're going to talk about police stuff. We're going to talk about things that are going on in our communities. And if you're watching, please put your comments in, because we would love to hear what you're thinking and answer your questions live if you are watching live. All right, we're bringing Captain Thomas Rose. Tom, how are you today, brother?
I'm well, Scott. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
I'm doing just fine. I've got some hope for the new year, and I'm not sure why. It's an election year, so right? It's going to be a mess,
Yeah, it's a new year. We got to be optimistic.
We have to try. I mean, I don't really want to give up hope until at least March. What do you think?
Yeah.
So let's see. Okay. We got Karen with us. Karen, a good friend of ours from Crazy About Costumes in Fort Lauderdale. Thanks for joining us, Karen. Glad you can catch us today. No question from her, but saying hello. Tom, you've been a police officer for 24 years. Is this like something you've always wanted, or is this something you fell into? How did this come about for you?
It's something I wanted to do since I was a child. I always seen myself as becoming a police officer, and I just enjoy the aspect of helping people. And it was just a calling I had, and I have no regrets. 24 years, still going, and I'm appreciative for all the people that have helped support me in my life, and all the good things that law enforcement officers do each and every day. I'm extremely thankful for that.
As we all should be. I'm going to tell you now, and I'm going to remind you at the end of the show, if you do see a police officer, take a moment, thank them for their service. Just say hello, be kind. They're doing a job that's a tough job. Even stopping at the departments, if you bake some cookies, you want to bake an extra dozen cookies, you guys never turn them down at your department.
Never turn them down. We'll never turn down cookies.
Yeah. I didn't say donuts. I didn't want to be like cliche. So Joe Kelly is with us. He's saying you are the most solid guy he knows.
He's got good judgment. Don't believe everything he says, though. He's a good man.
So 24 years ago, you joined up. You've always wanted. Were you influenced by anything to join? Was there like somebody you knew who was an officer, or was there a TV show that maybe made you want to be?
I just was always intrigued by police officers at a young age. I don't know of anybody in particular that influenced me, but I used see police cars driving by, and I just was always mesmerized by policing. And as I grew older, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
I think that's excellent, and we appreciate your service.
Thank
you. Obviously 24 years ago, it was a little different than it is today. And I want to talk in depth about that. We've seen over this 24 years, we could see where there was a period that was just seemed like everything was okay. Then we got into the George Floyd period and a few other incidents that happened where all of a sudden the spotlight was on. You guys were all under the microscope. or I should not say under the microscope, because being under the microscope is fine. You are all being judged by the actions of a few.
Correct.
That had to be a really tough time. Did that get to you during that period of time?
Yeah, it really did. As you said, I've been a police officer for 24 years. When I first took the test to get on the current department I'm on, and relatively speaking, we're only 40 police officers, so we're not the biggest department, but there was about 400 people that came to take the test. We just gave a test recently last year, and we had 18 people. So the numbers have dwindled.
Wow.
We are having a recruitment crisis all around the country. You hear and see it everywhere, and we're no different. We're really up against it. We obviously right now we're in a good situation because we're up to full strength, but it is challenging, to say the least, to get people interested in becoming police officers. And I think, as you just mentioned, in 2020, the George Floyd incident really changed a lot of the sentiment, I believe, from the public that they had towards police. And, that incident was horrific. We all know that. But, that incident affected every police officer in the country, no doubt.
Now, let's be perfectly honest. Nobody's backing up the actions of what happened. No. Somebody did something wrong. All right. And they've been punished. They're punished for it. But you guys, I mean, even back then, before the incident, you guys were very careful about, making sure your police officers were healthy and mentally sound and things like that. But you're never going to be 100%, maybe 1 million police officers in this country. You could pull out, you're always going to be able to pull out 5 or 6 that are bad eggs. But
yep.
It's to place the judgment on everybody. See, now you're in a perfect storm, my friend, because now that happens. Everybody's starting to get upset with the police. Then COVID comes. Now we're upset with the government. And then everybody's like kind of closed in. People are losing their jobs. People are in trouble. They're hurting, and they need somebody to blame. And so that was a perfect storm for you guys.
Yeah,
it
really was
a tough time.
Yeah, it really was. I feel, recently things are starting to take a turn back to the way they were prior to George Floyd and COVID. We're starting to get back into some kind of, the way things used to be, but there's still a long way to go. All I can do from where I sit is have an influence on the men and women that work under me and with me, to make sure that we're doing everything we need to do to make a positive impact in our community. And I feel, that's the case around the country.
I believe so.
Unfortunately, we're in the day of social media, so everything can be seen on YouTube, or you name the platform, within seconds of an incident happening. And police officers are making split-second decisions on the street that, can be, usually are Monday morning quarterbacked,
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that's where we are in this day and age of technology. And obviously it's here to stay. So we just got to make sure that we're doing what we need to be doing from a professional standpoint. And as far as making sure that our officers are mentally and physically well.
Karen, just wanted to say thank you for your service and amen.
Thank you, Karen.
So for you to start to combat these things, now you've been dealing with certain things before. George Floyd was not the tipping point for everything. It was just kind of like one of those points in time where a lot of bad things happened. But in the 24 years, you've seen a real shift from just doing the job to self-care and taking care of yourselves within the department. There's been a big shift in that over the last 24 years, especially these last 7 or 8 years, right?
Absolutely. When I started, there wasn't much in the area of officer health and wellness. over the last 5 to 10 years, we've really seen that change, and rightfully so. We're probably behind the curve of the way things should be. But now we have a Cape and Islands critical incident support team that goes around the Cape where we work and talks to police officers after critical incidents. And I just spoke to, we have a member of our department that serves on that team, and she raves about the work that they do and the appreciation officers have to be able to talk to someone after some of these critical incidents. 10, 15, 20 years, you didn't see that. 20 years ago, you never saw anything like that. You're going from, some pretty horrific calls and not being able to talk to anybody. And these things just kind of got bottled up. And unfortunately, you see police officers look to sources of, whether it's drugs, alcohol, to kind of, release some of these built up frustrations. And unfortunately, in the past, officers would just commiserate with one another and think they're solving, their problems. But, that's not the case.
No. And there's been much more. I know there was a spark with 9/11 on, the trauma that people go through. And then they started looking at it more on a daily basis, which, I mean, I want to kind of paint a picture for people to understand that you don't have to be in a firefight to have a difficult day. Every place you go, you have to be both guarded and kind. You have to be polite but careful. You got to balance, the warrior and the peacekeeper kind of. That must be difficult and draining for you.
Sure is. It's a fine line, and we're human. So, sometimes, officers could be dealing with stuff outside of work, personal issues, and you're expected to come to work and navigate, these different incidents that you experience in an 8 or 16-hour shift, and put that stuff to the side, which, as you know, and anybody listening probably knows, that's very difficult to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why, beyond the CIS, which is a critical incident team, there's also peer support. I'm sure you've probably done some peer support in your area too.
Absolutely.
Which is a little bit more of a daily kind of touch in, and people within the department you could talk to.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be a major incident, because you don't know. I mean, two guys go to the same call, and one walks away feeling really fine. The other one's somewhat bothered by it. So it's kind of watch your own back, check your own health, but watch your buddy as well, right?
That's correct. And our agency, everybody does a great job with that. We're like a family. I always say this is my second family. I look out for everybody here like they were my kids, and vice versa. We look out for one another. We have to. And, when you see somebody down and out, it's important that we identify that and start talking to them, offer resources, because, as we see, officer suicides around the country, it's happening. And, I'm, there's signs there that, that probably we're seeing, and, we're expected to, have these broad shoulders, and, we can put up with anything, but, we're human beings. And, unfortunately, sometimes some of us, handle things differently than others. And we need to be able to recognize when somebody's struggling.
Absolutely. I've always said, you guys have each other's back when you have to go through a door. You should also have each other's back when you drive back to the department. Have each other's back when you're going home at night, and one guy's going home to his family, or female, obviously, going home to her family. And if they're leaving upset, the family might catch the brunt of it. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. So it's so funny. Could you imagine having this conversation 24 years ago?
No, not at all. It wouldn't happen.
Wouldn't happen.
It wouldn't happen. It was a different world.
it was a different world, and there was also a lot of stigma. I mean, you didn't
Yeah.
speak up. You
Yeah.
had to
Yeah.
be strong. You had to be tough.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd be, 20 years ago, you would be looked upon as weak if, you wanted to talk to somebody about your issues. And now I feel rightfully so. If you want to talk to someone, that is encouraged and not frowned upon. It's actually, it's encouraged. So,
Yes.
this year in Massachusetts, the officers receive 40 hours of annual, what's called in-service training, and 1 8-hour block this year of that 40-hour training is for officer health and wellness, which I think is fantastic.
Oh, you're getting that every year. You're getting
That's
that. That's
correct.
good.
That's correct.
That's
Yeah.
a great step in the right direction,
Yeah. It really is. In our department, we are starting to have some health and wellness training here. We've always been pretty good that we've had a wellness program as far as officers working out. Those that, it's voluntary, but those that elect to work out, they get extra time off during the year. They get extra compensated days off for working out. So the department, tries to look out and encourage our officers to work out and take care of themselves.
Yeah. So the old days of right after work, you just go out, you drink 5 beers, smoke half a pack of cigarettes, and that's shifting. That is shifting now. Hey, after work, let's hit the gym and do things like that, which is
Exactly.
great.
Before shift, there is groups of officers that get together before shift and they work out. Most of the time, it's before shift. That's
Right.
what I've seen around here, anyways. I can't speak for anywhere else, but it builds camaraderie, and they're taking care of themselves. Eating right. You're seeing that a lot more from when I started. When I started, and Joe could attest to this, that there were officers that smoked cigars. Now you can't smoke. It's unheard of.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So things are changing definitely for the better.
And the stigma is shifting. It's moving where people can say, I'm having a hard time with something, and they're not as afraid. We still got a long way to go, I think. Not
Yes.
just with the police, but as a country, we got a long way to go to identify somebody's having a mental health problem or a struggle with something and not label them. And we still got a long way to go, but you guys are heading in the right direction there too, right? Is there open conversations about these things now?
Oh yeah. It's at the forefront now, and as you just said, we're not even close to being there yet, but we're heading in the right direction. So we're having those conversations daily. Officers looking out for one another. The state's now starting to bring in health and wellness into the curriculum of the yearly officer training. So we're making strides in the right direction. Still a long way to go, but we're gonna get there.
You must be very proud. I mean, because you've made you're a captain, so now you've got people that you're responsible for, and you're doing it in a time when awareness is growing. So it must feel good to look at your people and know that there's all these things in place to help them.
It does. Truth be told, I feel like I'm becoming a dinosaur because, I was always one of the younger guys in the department, and now I'm one of the older guys. And to see how things have changed dramatically in my time, for the better, I can only imagine 20 years from now hopefully what it will be.
Well, hopefully, the awareness that is growing within the departments around the country is an awareness that will also grow in our communities, where we won't have these mass shooting events and other things because somebody with mental health went unchecked for so long because nobody helped, or we didn't
Yeah.
have the resources, or nobody said anything.
Yeah.
So hopefully this will shift for all of us, my friend, and then
I hope so. I
that will
hope
be
so.
that would be a good thing.
Yes, yes. It's here, and until we effectively take care of this issue, it's going to be here to stay. So, it's important that the individuals like yourself, the work you guys do, it's really appreciated, and I can't thank you enough.
Oh, it is absolutely our pleasure. Our involvement with first responders is something that comes from our hearts, and we work with everybody with addictions and mental health and other issues. But really with your first responder, you guys are doing such a great job. You know, nobody's perfect, but you go out there, you do a job that has to be done. And I wish people would take a look at it. Maybe a few years back, I don't want to be a police officer. I don't want to go through that. I don't want to be the firefighters are having the same thing with recruitment.
Yeah.
Go look at how they're treating their people today. Go in and talk to them and see what's going on. And you would not believe the benefits that are attached to that. With, you know, having the second family, people having your back. There's not a lot of places you can go to, you have that, but you guys do that.
It's a great profession. I would encourage anybody that's, you know, interested to apply to their, you know, local police department. You get a front row seat to making a difference in your particular community. And we need all the help we can get. The numbers have been down recently, but, you know, we think that, you know, as anything, things will get better. And I can't say enough that it's a great job. It really is. And we're looking for good men and women to get into this profession and really get out there and make a difference.
And not every job with the police department is wearing a gun on your hip and going out in the streets. There's a lot of other things that go on there too. You need computer people, you need you know, operators, you need different things like that. So no matter what you'd like to do, go in and find out what's available there. It doesn't mean just the one officer out on the street. That's what you have to be, right?
Exactly. There's many avenues your career can take. You like dogs, there's canine positions. You know, we're all different. We're all wired different. And I'm sure you would be able to find something that you would love to do, that you're passionate about in your particular police department, whatever the area of the country that they're in. I can't say enough good things about this profession. The men and women that I've worked with over the course of my year, honestly, are the salt of the earth. They're unbelievable. All they want to do is help people.
Joe has thrown something up. He says more departments need leadership like Mashpee to set the tone on mental wellness. They should be very proud.
Well, thanks,
Joe. We appreciate that. And I mean, this is terrific. And I'm going to remind people again, just go in and talk. Whatever your local police department is, or sheriff's department, whichever one, go in and talk to them, see what's going on. Even if you don't want a job there, it's nice to get to know these guys. It's not like the old days. You can't walk up and down the streets, walk into every business, shake hands, do this. It's like I mean, that's the old days, and I get it. It's a faster moving world. Yeah. You can't do that. But you really do want to get to know the people in your community, don't you?
Absolutely. We you know, community policing, that's what we're all about here, connecting with the community. It's important. It's crucial for us. Yeah. You know, we got to have the support of the community, and, you know, it's so important that, you know, we connect with people, and, you know, we welcome people to come and talk to us. You know, cup of coffee, you know, you see an officer out, listen, we're approachable. We'll talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And, you know, honestly, I can honestly say that we love to hear, you know, hey, thank you for it's fantastic, because all too often you hear the negative thing. Oh, you know,
yeah,
you gave me a ticket, you did this, you did that. And you know, you just start hearing nothing but negative feedback. It's important to hear that positivity, you know. So
and approach them, thank them, ask them a question if you've got a question. You know, you guys have, I'm sure you have events during certain times of the year, or maybe even charity drives or different things. Everybody's got something.
Yes.
You probably go on your website and find all of those things you do.
Without a doubt. Throughout the year, we're doing things.
But if you're in your community and you're having an event, send that information to the police department. Maybe one of the officers who work in your area would love to stop by and just be a part of that. That would be a great idea, right?
Absolutely. Open lines of communication. You know, that I can't stress that enough. If something in your particular area or town or the country is bothering you, let the police department know. You know, we're here to help. We're here to serve the community. So, right. And that's a a number of different ways. It's not just enforcing laws. It's a number of different areas that, officers are involved in, and we love to help.
Now we're blowing through time, but it's great talking about this stuff. I do want to bring up one thing, and it's like what we're seeing with addictions and mental health out on the streets. Addictions took a very bad turn. Overdoses, the amount of heroin and fentanyl and different things out on the streets took a really bad turn during COVID because nothing likes isolation more than addiction. I mean, you isolate people, they just drink themselves or use themselves, or even the mental health builds and builds, and there's nobody around to stop you because you're not making contact. We've
Right.
come out the other side, but it seems like now we're fighting a battle that's even worse than it was before. What are you seeing in your area? Are we still like behind the fight with this?
Yeah, sometimes it feels like it's a never-ending battle. You feel like you make some strides and gains, and then you take two steps back. We have somebody assigned to the DEA Drug Task Force, and we're on Cape Cod, and everyone thinks, oh, it's Cape Cod, it's a touristy, affluent area, and we got issues just like everywhere else in the country. We see, fentanyl, heroin. We got a major problem down here. Obviously, as everywhere in the country, the opioid epidemic. We are fighting it. We're on the front lines, but we can't do it alone. It takes the community to say something. If you see something, we got to look out for one another, and it's important that we continue to fight because there's all kinds of different resources available that weren't available years ago to help somebody that's going through this situation, and at the end of the day, we want to help people. So we got a job to do. We got to fight crime, but we want to help people. So the area of addiction, we have resources available here that we have someone that goes out and does follow-ups when someone overdoses to try to get them into treatment.
That's
it's important.
excellent.
Yeah. So it's a community effort. It's not just the police, it's all of us coming together and looking out for one another.
That's the point. That's the point I wanted to get to. I'm glad you said it is a community effort. The police will not succeed. They will fail 100% of the time if somebody doesn't call them. They will have no impact on the community unless the community calls and says, this is what's going on. Do you think people, I think they're afraid to call the police on something, or I think some people are uncomfortable doing it. Are you still kind of seeing some of that? Like, yeah, I wanted to call the police, but I didn't want to get involved, or I didn't want to be a rat, or I didn't.
Yeah. Or, there's still, and this state has taken, there's Good Samaritan laws that, no one's going to be charged if there's a small amount of drugs in the house when, they call us that someone's overdosing or something like that. But you're still seeing, we are, that, they are hesitant to call, and it's unfortunate.
And are people protected when they call? Are they,
Yes.
Their identity can be withheld, or it can be
without a doubt. They're anonymous. They can call us anonymously.
And I know that you're going to get some calls that are just, you're going to get those calls too, but better to have a few extra calls than not enough calls, because every call you don't get called on, somebody's at risk.
That's correct. I hope nobody feels that, there's no such thing as excess calls or anything like that. Let us know. That's what we're here for.
Right.
So.
Again, Captain Thomas Rose from Mashpee Police Department. Take some time, go visit the if you're in Mashpee or in the area, stop in and say hello. But really, next time you see a police officer on the road, I'm going to say it one more time, take a moment and say hello. If you see them in a car, wave. And when you wave at police, use all 5 fingers, please. Just a piece of advice. But I mean, some have a sense of humor, some of them might not. But no, just wave. Just be polite and be kind. Be kind to the person that one day might help you in a situation where you're feeling helpless, or might help you when your son or daughter is in trouble or something is happening. How we treat them is indicative of how we want them to treat us. Do you want them to treat us poorly? Then treat them. Don't treat them well, because they want to treat you well. They all want the same thing, don't you?
We do. We're no different than, we might do a different job and be seen a little differently, but we're just like everybody out there. We're trying to support our families and make a difference, a positive impact in our community. So we obviously can't do it alone. We need the public support, and I can't stress that enough. And Scott, I thank you and your people for everything you do, getting the word out there. It's important, and it's a never-ending battle. But I thank you, and I think I speak for all first responders.
Well, it is certainly our pleasure, and it is. It's a battle that we're all in, whether you recognize it or not. The police are the ones who stand in the front line, but we're all in the same battle to save our communities, save our families, to improve our lifestyles. And if we work together, the work is so much easier. I am very proud and honored to be speaking with you and to hear about the great work that you're doing at Mashpee. And here's praying for all of us that we continue to make moves in self-care, health and wellness, and community involvement. And, who knows where we're going to be in 5 years, my friend.
That's true. Thank you for all you do again, and the support. It's much appreciated.
Thank you very much. And for everyone out there, thank you for joining us and for your comments. And if you're watching the replay, please still leave comments, because we're going to check those out later on, and share this with your friends. For now, I want to tell everybody, be kind to each other. Do 2 things nice for yourself, 1 thing nice for somebody else, and you'll have a great day every day. Scott Jones with my guest, Captain Thomas Rose, thanking you for joining us. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you.